Little Harmony Montgomery was born to Crystal Sorey and Adam Montgomery, but unfortunately for Harmony, both of her parents suffered from addiction problems. These issues were addressed by a judge in family court in Massachusetts, and in a questionable hearing where Adam, a career criminal, was granted sole custody of Harmony in New Hampshire. Harmony then lived with her father and stepmother, Kayla. The couple was then evicted from their home and began living in a car, and Harmony was never seen again. For 2 years, no one reported her missing until Crystal, her biological mother, started making some noise and alerted authorities, who began searching for Harmony. By then, Adam had left the state, and police went to talk to his wife, Kayla. She told them Harmony went back to her mother's, but police knew that wasn't true. Kayla would eventually be subpoenaed to testify before a grand jury about the last time she saw Harmony. But on the stand, under oath, she was caught again in a lie. And after being convicted for perjury, Kayla agreed to tell police the truth about what happened to Harmony. Today, she told the jury in her husband's murder trial the horrific details. Good evening and welcome to Closing Arguments. I'm Julia Janae, filling in tonight for Vinnie Politan, who's been away this week on assignment for the second season of his show, Accomplice to Murder. Day 3 of the trial of accused killer Adam Montgomery, it concluded this afternoon with what could be the most important testimony that we've seen so far in this case. The only other adult witness to witness the murder, of little Harmony Montgomery. It's her stepmother, Kayla Montgomery, the defendant's estranged wife. Kayla was the only witness who was called today. It took hours to get through her testimony. She began around 9:30 in the morning and remained there until late in the afternoon. When she notified the court, she had a migraine and court adjourned for the day. Through her testimony, the jury heard about the abuse that Harmony endured during the short time that she lived with her father. They heard the heinous account of what happened to Harmony's remains after she died. Gruesome details about Harmony's last day alive. We do want to warn you as we work through this testimony that it's going to be difficult to listen to.
I want to turn your attention to December 7th of 2019.
Yeah.
Does that day stand out to you?
Yes.
Why?
It's the day that Harmony passed away.
Where did you wake up?
At Colonial Village.
And what happened first thing in the morning that morning?
We went to the methadone clinic.
And before you left for the methadone clinic, did Harmony have an accident?
Yes.
And what did the defendant do before you went to the methadone clinic? What did the defendant do to Harmony after that accident?
He was yelling and screaming at her and punching her in the head.
Kayla, can you tell the jurors what happened when Adam returned to the vehicle after his methadone treatment?
When Adam came back to the vehicle, he could smell urine and he started yelling at Harmony and kept hitting her in the head repetitively.
What was Harmony doing at that point when he started driving the vehicle?
She was crying a lot.
She was crying a lot?
Yeah. And she was making a weird noise.
Was she saying anything?
No.
And Kayla, I want you to walk the jurors through in as much detail as you can what happened on your route from Habit Opco to that Burger King.
Adam was getting really angry from Harmony peeing in the car, and he repetitively kept punching her on the way to Burger King, and there were a couple red lights, and when we were at red lights, he would go over the driver's seat, like in between the passenger seat, and he was just punching her repetitively in the head.
Between Habit Opco and the Burger King, did the defendant say anything to Harmony?
He told her to shut up, stop crying.
Did he try to help Harmony while he was striking her?
Yes.
Tell the jurors what you did to help, to try to help.
I put my arm up and said to stop, but he looks at me and he gave me this look that was like evil. His crazy eyes. I didn't like it, and I couldn't stop him from hitting her, because the look that he gave me was scary. I was scared.
Did he stop after that?
Shortly after that.
Shortly after that. Did he say anything to you when he stopped?
He said he thinks that he really hurt her.
Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson is joining us live from New Hampshire. Matt, you were inside the courtroom for all of this. What was the reaction from the jury, from the gallery during this testimony?
Julia, it was a packed courthouse here in New Hampshire today for day 3 of this trial. Noticeably absent was Adam Montgomery for another tough day of testimony coming from his wife, estranged wife, Kayla Montgomery, also known as the state's star witness, who took the stand today and was emotional at times as she did a play-by-play about what happened to Harmony, according to her, what Adam did to her, and how he tried to dispose of the little girl's body, according to her. At one point, Crystal Sorey, Harmony Montgomery's biological mother, left the courtroom. She was just so emotional. Under cross, I noticed that there were several people of the jury that had been wiping away tears under direct, but under cross, they were actually folding their arms. Their arms were crossed.
Spoke, Matt, about the day that Harmony died, and she talked about what Adam did, and we heard her there saying she tried to put her arm up, tried to stop it, but then she said she was scared. But what else did she say about that day in 2019?
Right, she was saying that everything really took a turn when they went back to the Colonial Village apartments. This is after he went to the methadone clinic. He realized that she had an accident in the backseat of the car. He started assaulting her. She went through these details, and then she said that they went to that apartment complex parking lot where they slept in their car because, again, they were homeless. And when they went to leave, the car died at a traffic light. Adam went to the back seat to go get the kids out of the car, and then he realized that little Harmony had died.
He took the duffel bag that was in the trunk and put her in the duffel bag.
Did he call 911 at any point?
No.
Did you?
No.
And when you saw him put her in that duffel bag, did you attempt to get away, to run?
No.
Why not?
They had the 2 other kids, and I was scared.
Scared of?
That something would happen to me or Adam and the kids.
What did her face look like when you saw her go into that bag?
It was all black and blue, and her face was puffy. Her eyes were puffy.
And this is the first time that we're really hearing details about how the body looked. Some very tough testimony there. Remember, there's a majority of women on this jury, and many of them are mothers. And we're hearing testimony from this stepmother that says that she didn't intervene, she didn't render aid, she was worried about herself and her biological children.
Matt, it's no surprise that there were jurors that couldn't hold back emotions during testimony like that, especially as you mentioned what happened with Harmony's body. Take us through some of the highlights of that testimony and what she was able to share today with the jury.
Yeah, she really went through details, and it was really disturbing and hard to listen to. A lot of people, the room got completely silent, were just looking down. The jury members were just laser focused on that witness box, and as Kayla went step by step as to her account of where Adam Montgomery hid Harmony's body after she was murdered, and starting off with putting her in that canvas reusable bag. There were other mentions. A few of the highlights here for you is she was put in a cooler over at Kayla's mother's house. They passed that cooler daily multiple times. Very disturbing details. And then they said that after she was folded and put in these items, at one point, when they went to the family shelter, Adam got up on the bed and put the canvas bag of Harmony inside of it in the ceiling. And then that ceiling started to leak with some of the liquids from her decomposing body. And underneath that vent is where Adam Montgomery slept and their other children slept. Take a listen.
Adam took her back down from out of the ceiling and brought the bag in the bathroom. She was starting to smell and there was fluid leaking.
So you smelled her, and did you see the fluid?
No, I didn't see it.
How do you know about the fluid that was leaking?
Adam said that.
What did he say?
He said that there was blood up in the ceiling and fluid.
What did he do with that duffel bag containing Harmony after he removed her from the ceiling because of maintenance?
He put her in a trash bag.
Kayla, do you recognize the item that's depicted in this image?
Yes,
What is that?
the CMC diaper bag.
So after that, they said that Adam Montgomery put that bag inside of a mini fridge at a motel that another couple had rented for them so that Adam wouldn't be traced back to that particular motel. The couple also rented a U-Haul van. And then one night, Kayla said that Adam left in the middle of the night, took the bag with him, came back before sunrise, and the bag was no longer with him. Harmony was gone.
Matt, those details, it's infuriating to listen to them. You mentioned that the jury had their arms crossed by the time cross-examination happened. So tell me about those moments. What did it seem like the jury was really reacting to once it was the defense's turn to ask the questions?
Right, so under direct, they were at times emotional and they were really paying attention, and a lot of times they were looking down. They were really listening to Kayla. But under cross, again, they had their arms crossed, and some of them appeared to be a little bit skeptical in what was taking place, because you had defense attorney Carolyn Smith that was asking some very tough questions, and she started to go into lie after lie after lie that Kayla Montgomery told police, and also those lies that she told a grand jury. Take a listen.
You would rather hide Harmony's death than have the state come and take the children from you, right?
That's not what I was thinking.
Okay. But you two talked about it and how important it was for you to be there with the kids and for them not to take the children, right?
Yes.
And Adam did agree to take the fall after you discovered Harmony's death and had that conversation.
Yes.
Do you remember at the end of your direct testimony, the prosecutor asked you to look at this jury?
Yes.
And he asked you, did you kill Harmony? And you looked at this jury and you said no?
Yes.
Do you remember that the prosecutor at the grand jury asked you to look at the grand jurors?
Yes.
And he asked you to tell them what happened to Harmony and you said you didn't know?
Yes.
So looking at jurors while you're lying doesn't change the lie, right?
Right.
Most of the questioning under cross, really focused on impeachment here and really driving home the point that she is a liar and a convicted liar, because after she answered Caroline Smith's question saying that she only lied to the grand jury twice, Then it was line by line of her testimony and every lie that she told that grand jury. I don't even think that we're finished yet with that testimony.
Wow, yeah, let's talk about that. She did look different. She appeared different sitting there during cross than she did during direct examination. And we talked about this a bit earlier when we started the show, that things ended abruptly. Where are we right now in terms of the state's case and testimony?
Right, it was a big surprise to everybody because we were expected to go until 4 o'clock. That's the schedule here in New Hampshire. So at one point in time under cross, she starts being asked a lot of tough questions and about all of her lies. And then she starts holding her head. And at one point, the defense attorney, Carolyn Smith, had to ask her if she was okay, and this happened.
That wasn't the immunity from everything that you had wanted, right?
Right.
You knew they had you solid on the perjury, right?
Right.
Are you okay?
My head hurts. I'm like having a migraine.
Well, she'll be back on the stand come Monday for the rest of the cross and then probably a lot of redirect as well. Remember, she doesn't have a choice in all of this. She is required to testify for this trial and cooperate. That's part of her plea deal.
We heard that today. The jury heard that today, all while the defendant is not in the courtroom for his murder trial. Matt Johnson, thank you so much for all those details and for keeping us updated on this trial. Up next, we have more of Kayla Montgomery on the stand and how she told the jury about her husband's repeated abuse against Harmony. Plus, here's a look at what's coming up in our next hour. In Jonesboro, Tennessee, 54-year-old Annette Harvey is charged with first-degree murder in the stabbing death of her friend and custody holder of her children. Today, Annette took the stand in her own defense.
I remember talking to him and telling him that if everybody around me is in danger, then it's a good thing I'm in jail.
An innocent child and an unthinkable tragedy.
5-year-old Harmony Montgomery disappeared in 2019.
So you just need to find out where she is. I have nothing to say.
Now her own father stands trial for her brutal murder.
I did not kill my daughter Harmony, and I look forward to my upcoming trial.
So many questions that come back to the same question. How could this happen?
The murder of Harmony Montgomery trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, only on Court TV.
The more accidents she had, the more he would get angry and he would hit her repetitively.
Was the defendant causing visible injuries to Harmony?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
And tell us about those injuries.
When he would hit her, she started getting black eyes and bruises on her face, on her legs.
Horrific testimony today, not only about little Harmony's death, but also her short life. Direct testimony today from Kayla Montgomery. It recounted how her husband, Adam Montgomery, would repeatedly hit his 5-year-old daughter, leaving black eyes and bruises on her body. She also testified about how Adam would hide Harmony from other people so they wouldn't see the evidence of that battery. Just days before Harmony's death, Kayla and Adam were involved in a car accident. Law enforcement was there around this family before Harmony would be killed. And even though Harmony was in the car, she went unnoticed.
Did law enforcement respond to that accident?
Yes.
Did you see an officer?
Yes.
Were the officers able to see Harmony?
No.
Tell the jurors why not.
Adam didn't want the officers to see her because she had black eyes. So she was covered with a blanket.
How often would he cover Harmony?
All the time. Anytime that we had interference with anybody, no matter who it was.
Was this only when you went out in public, or was it when you were still in that parking lot, or both?
Both.
Joining me now to discuss this case, retired First Justice of the Worcester County Juvenile Court in Massachusetts and the author of the book about Harmony's case titled A Cruel Injustice, How Massachusetts Put a 4-Year-Old Harmony in the hands of a monster. Judge Carol Erskine is with us. Also joining us from Boston, Massachusetts, Boston 25 reporter Bob Ward, who's been covering this case from the beginning. Bob, let me start with you. Was there anything that surprised you about Kayla's testimony today? Anything new that you learned perhaps from the account she gave, but also her mannerisms on the stand?
Well, I agree with what you said before about how she looked a lot different than the last time we saw her. And when she was walking into the courtroom, I had prepared something on my social media to say, Kayla is taking the stand. And when I saw her walk across the courtroom, I took one look at her and I thought, that's not Kayla, that's somebody else. I can't send this tweet out because, you know, it's going to be undermined. And then all of a sudden she turns around, I could see her face and I realized who it was. So her appearance is a lot different than it was just maybe 6-7 months ago when she testified against Adam in the gun trial. So that was the very first thing. And then there were details in the testimony along the way that were not included in the affidavit, or at least I don't remember them. And it was just gruesome, Julia, it was just gruesome testimony, as you know. And to be sitting in that courtroom and Crystal Sorey, Harmony's mother, was sitting immediately in front of me. It was not easy to get through that morning testimony. So there were new details. There was something about a NutriBullet blender that Adam talked about using on Harmony's body when he was dismembering the body in the bathroom at the Union Street apartment. It was just a grotesque detail that I don't remember hearing before. And it shocked some of the other reporters too, and we talked about it later. Things along those lines were very tough to take. And then under cross-examination, the number of lies that she admitted to before she got into an agreement with the state to turn evidence against her estranged husband, that was very eye-opening too, because it wasn't just one or two things. It was a whole litany of things. And then it appeared at the end of the day that Kayla herself kind of folded up under the pressure and couldn't take anymore and got that migraine and everything ground to a halt.
Yeah, abrupt ending to the day. We're going to hear more from her next week. But Judge Erskine, we heard a lot about custody and the care of Harmony. And Kayla Montgomery was emotional on the stand when she talked about them fighting for 4 years, Adam fighting for 4 years to get custody of Harmony. This was a couple that went through a lot of struggles, it seemed. What do you know about why they wanted to have custody of her so bad?
Yeah, I was surprised by that statement. I will say that, first of all, they didn't fight at all for 4 years. The case was 4 years and 8 months. And the Office of the Child Advocate writes in its investigation that Adam Montgomery wasn't present at her birth and had no interest in for most of her life. Not only did he not fight, he didn't do any of the services for the Department of Children and Families. He didn't do anger management. He didn't do the psychological evaluation. He didn't show up for the family assessment. In 2016, he missed almost a full year of visits. And then there was another year where he missed 11 months of visits. He had the opportunity to visit over 200 times to have weekly visits. He visited 20 times with a monitor. So I was really surprised because he did almost nothing until the last 6 months when he decided he wanted custody. And Kayla Montgomery appeared only a few times for visitation and also never participated in a family assessment. So no one knew, including the judge, that she had a substance abuse issue. She was never evaluated. It was never brought out at the trial. She didn't testify at the trial. She wasn't even there. And so this is all confirmed by the Massachusetts investigation. He got custody because all of the information regarding his complete failure to comply with services and his total inability to understand Harmony's needs was never presented to the judge. So, and that's the reason that he ultimately got custody. And from my standpoint, I have to agree with Crystal Sorey on that. And that is, he wanted custody so she couldn't have Harmony. So that's why I think he spent so much time in those last 6 months. But this was a trial, so people should know, that lasted about 6 hours, even though it was a 4 year and 8 month case. Probably, and I've done hundreds of child abuse cases, probably thousands. This was over a 4-year case. It would have thousands of pages as part of the case record and the DCF record. But instead, the case lasted about 6 or 7 hours. And so I just don't agree that they fought at all. And the Massachusetts investigation confirms that.
Wow. I do want to talk a little bit more about custody because it was mentioned in a letter that was brought up during a cross-examination. So before Kayla gave an account of what happened to Harmony to police in real time, she wrote a letter detailing what she wanted in exchange for her cooperation, including custody of her 3 children. Take a listen.
One of the things that you wanted, other than being alone one last time, was immunity. Immunity for everything, the charges you were facing and what you were about to say, right?
Right.
And it's what you were about to say about Adam, right?
Right.
You weren't going to say anything about you if you didn't have to, right?
I was going to say everything.
Okay. And you wanted the kids in your life. You didn't want to lose custody of your kids, right?
Right.
Bob, the prosecution has really portrayed this person on the stand, this could-be co-defendant, as someone who is a victim, who was terrified of Adam Montgomery. What's the impact of how she is portrayed, or how she is received, rather, in the area where you are, New Hampshire and Massachusetts? Has it changed at all now that you have the prosecution saying that she was someone whose hands were tied, essentially, during all of this?
Yeah, I'm not sure people completely buy that, but the allegations here are so horrific. Taking away the actual murder of Harmony Montgomery, but what happened after that? Now, Adam has said that he indicates that he wants to plead guilty to that and concede those things. And Kayla was there, and actually she said today that she helped in cutting some of the clothes off in that bathroom. It's so horrific that, you know, my responses that I'm seeing on my social media, people are saying things, they should both be in prison. They should both be charged. I can't believe that it's just going to be one and not the other. So there is I think there's a sizable amount of the public that is wondering how Kayla's going to get out of this with only, I think it's 1.5 years to serve when she finally gets out, if she fulfills her end of this bargain.
Right.
And that's troubling. That's troubling
Bob.
for a lot of people. No, that's troubling for a lot of people.
We learned today,
right,
that she's still in custody. We weren't sure, and you said 18 months, so she's still got a little bit of time.
She still has a little bit of time. I heard that she might be getting out in April, so she may be just about wrapped up with all the time. And she was there when by her own admission, she was there when Harmony was fatally attacked. And she was there in the weeks and months that it took to move that body from place to place and dismember the body, and actually helped, and never once thought to call for help, to call the police. However, she said that Adam was paranoid, that she was talking to the police, and she was attacked, and that's how she got those black eyes. You know, it's just, again, it's the drugs that it's a different culture. I think I've said this before. It changes people's thinking, and it's just hard for us to stand here who are not caught up in that world and understand how these people thought and acted. You know, why didn't she call for help at some point to save herself and her children? Why didn't she? There's so many disturbing questions here. But to answer your question, I do think there are a lot of people that think that she is getting off easy here, and they're not happy about that.
Judge Erskine, let me ask you quickly before we have to squeeze in a break. Do you think she could ever get custody of her 3 children that she had with Adam Montgomery after she is released, or even visitation?
Well, I have not heard that her parental rights were terminated. I thought it was interesting that she tried to broker an agreement for custody, because that would never be part of an immunity deal, because prosecutors and the state criminal system can't intervene into a family court for custody decision. But I will say this, she had every single risk factor that would result in a loss of custody. If I were the judge in her case, of course those children would be removed. There was domestic violence, there was substance use, There were multiple issues, and every single risk factor was there. Whether or not her rights would ultimately be terminated is something that would have to be determined later on to see whether or not she could engage in services to get custody back. I do believe she'll have visitation unless they terminate rights and put the children up for adoption. But
thank you so much for breaking that down for us, because it's still a question on many people's mind. I could talk to you all about this for so long. There's so much to unpack. Our thanks to Judge Carolyn Erskine and Bob Ward for joining us tonight. We do have to get to a break. Here's what's up next. Our body language and domestic violence experts are going to be telling us what they saw in Kayla Montgomery's testimony. That's next.
Kayla, why are you currently incarcerated?
For perjury, for lying on to the jury about the whereabouts of where I was and where Harmony was.
And when you say lying to the jury, was that the grand jury?
Yes.
Did you also lie to the police?
Yes.
Why'd you do that?
Because I was scared.
Kayla Montgomery, she's the prosecution's star witness in this case, and she's had a pretty troubled history with telling the truth. She's currently serving an 18-month sentence for perjury. She admitted that she lied to police early in the investigation into what happened to her stepdaughter, Harmony. On the stand, Kayla said that she lied to authorities to protect herself from her husband's abuse, but on cross-examination, the defense was able to get her to agree, or they questioned rather, if Kayla was really lying to minimize her involvement in Harmony's murder. She agreed that sometimes she was protecting Adam. To break down all of this, we're bringing in our experts who are standing by. Joining us from Alexandria, Virginia, body language expert and author of the new free newsletter, In the Driver's Seat, Janine Driver is with us. And in Dallas, Texas, victims advocate and domestic violence expert, Dr. Keitra Davenport-King. Good to have you both on today. The prosecutor asked Kayla if she was the person who killed little Harmony and concealed her remains. So I want to show you a portion of that testimony and get your reaction on the other side.
Did you pull Harmony out of the Sebring and stuff her into that duffel bag?
No.
At any point, did you fold her in half, as you described the defendant doing?
No.
Did you walk her to Badero's?
No.
Did you take her and put her in the ceiling of your room at the Fit Shelter?
No.
Did you smush her into a CMC bag like the one I showed you earlier?
No.
Did you compress her further and add lime to her in the bathroom of your Union Street apartment?
No.
Did you put her in a U-Haul van and dump her somewhere?
No.
Who did those things, Kayla?
Adam Montgomery.
Kayla, did you kill Harmony?
No, I did not.
Did you beat her to death?
No, I did not.
Janine Driver, tell me what you get from seeing that portion of testimony.
This is congruent with someone who's telling the truth here. The part where she's saying no, no, no. No is the strongest denial. We see some eyebrow flashing happening a little bit here. This is surprise. That tends to happen with someone who's telling the truth, where fear would be the eyebrows going up and straight across with, oh my gosh, they're on to me. So we see surprise versus fear. If the police knock at your door in the middle of the night, the police are looking, are you surprised or fearful? Did you know it was a matter of time till they knocked on the door? Now, when she says, no, I did not, that's overcompensating there. She might just be overcompensating. She's speaking very softly. And while the psychological and physical impact of abuse can affect people differently, there are some commonalities with people who are in abusive relationships, one of which is talking very softly. You know, they don't want to provoke the abuser, and so they tend to adopt this smaller gesture. You see, she's imploded with her body language. This is called a protective gesture. It's a very submissive posture. They don't want to take up space. And this is very common with people who have been in abusive relationships.
Dr. Davenport-King, we're going to play a little bit about the letter that she wrote, but something that's likely outraged some people who have been watching this trial is that she admits to covering for Adam, that she had the opportunity repeatedly to go to police, or she was questioned by police even when she was no longer in a relationship with him. Can you talk about if that could be consistent, if she could still be a victim of domestic violence at his hands, but also have all of these other issues that people really are concerned about?
Right. Yes, I can agree that with domestic violence victims, they often tend to shield and protect their abuser. And in her case with Adam, she said in her testimony that she did not want him to get caught. She didn't want him to get in any trouble. That's why she perjured herself and she lied about the situation. And when I assess this whole case holistically, and I think about a domestic violent victim, in her case, she was abused. She probably was experiencing financial abuse because they was being evicted from their home. She was experiencing physical abuse, and she was experiencing verbal abuse. And with those combinations of abuse, they tend to protect the person who's abusing them because they themselves do not want to be angered or looked upon, or they don't want to make their abuser even more so angry because they don't want him to get upset about the abuse that he's infringing on them and the children. And she had 3 children of her own by him. So not only that she witnessed what he did to his daughter, she was concerned about her daughters. And so a lot of victims, it's very hard. It's a cycle of violence. They always hope that the person is going to change. They stay in those relationships because they feel like essentially that if I stay and they know that I'm with them and they know that I'm protecting them, then they're going to change their ways. But that never happens. And unfortunately, that's what has happened in this situation with Kayla.
That's an important point to bring out, that she did share 3 children with the defendant. Let's play some of this letter. This is cross-examination. What we just showed was direct. Here she is answering the defense attorney's questions about a letter that she wrote. Before she spoke to police, she telling them what is the truth that she shared on the stand, she asked for certain things in exchange for information about what happened to Harmony. Let's listen.
One of the things that you wanted was one last time with Adam, right?
Right.
You wanted one last time to maybe kiss him or make love.
Yep.
And what you didn't write was that you wanted protection from Adam, right?
Right.
What you didn't write was that you were afraid of Adam, right?
Right.
Because you didn't want protection from Adam, right?
I wasn't thinking about that.
Okay. You just wanted to be with him one last time before you, as you put it, betrayed him, right?
Yes.
And having one last time with Adam before you talked to the police, you felt like he would understand and he would love you back, right?
No, I'm thinking about the conversation that him and I had before.
About?
About the kids still having their mother.
Okay.
When this situation occurs.
Right.
And that he would take everything.
Yeah.
So that I could be with the kids.
Right. You two talked about that and what would happen. And you both agreed that you were the mother. You were more important to the kids, right?
Right.
That you were the mother of his children, right?
Right.
And you needed to be there for his children, right? And you needed to be around more than he needed to be around.
No.
You actually wanted him to not be caught, right?
Yeah, I didn't.
Pardon?
I didn't.
And you wanted him to not be blamed for the death.
Right.
Because he didn't do what you said he did.
He did do what he did.
Janine, the jury's going to be looking at the difference between how she responded on direct and how she responded on cross. Did you see any differences that make you think one is more genuine than the other?
First of all, yes. One of the things is that she smiled here for a quick second when being said, when they mentioned hey, you wanted to be with him one last time. Is this correct? But you didn't ask for protection. And we see a quick smile on her face there. That's called duping delight. I always say, if you think of he, when someone laughs, people will smile for happiness, H, E for embarrassment, and then the other E is duping delight. Like, I wanted to get away with something here. So I think that's what this is here, this duping delight. And her left hand is very fidgety while answering the questions. Now she's looking down, reading at the same time, and we see her hand constantly moving. This is that increase in stress and anxiety. And I think that that's going to hurt her in front of the jury's eyes. If they don't know a lot about the psychological and physical abuse and what's happening inside a person's head who's been battered. I have a family member that was battered. And I remember she came to my house in Seattle, Washington, and she snuck out of my apartment, ran down the street on a payphone to call the man that left her for dead. She's like, but he loves me. He loves me. And there's this vicious cycle.
All right, I wish we could continue this conversation. There's so much to unpack here. We do have to squeeze in a break, but thank you, Janine Driver and Dr. Davenport King, for joining us.